Hey there, I'm Rachel Ehring, and you're listening to the Top Music Piano Podcast. Get inspired as we discuss creative resources, trends in piano pedagogy, ways to grow your income and streamline your studio, and new ways to engage your students each week. If you are a teacher who wants to go beyond the method books to create an innovative studio that fosters lifelong music makers, you've come to the right place. Hello there, piano teacher friends. How are you feeling today? Maybe you are cruising along, life looks great, you're managing your stress well, and everything's good. Or you might be like me in the middle of a truly busy season where things are feeling a little bit hectic and a little overwhelming. If you are in the latter category, I'm so glad that you're here today, because I'm going to share a few things that are saving me and keeping me at least somewhat sane during a particularly busy season of my life. I know that we have listeners all around the world, so your rhythms might look different than mine. But here in the US, we started back to school a few weeks ago. And if you've been here a while, you might know that my full-time job is as the director of a music conservatory. Because the conservatory is on the same campus as a K-8 school, we also follow the school calendar. So we have a short summer session of lessons in the conservatory, and then we have a few weeks off to reset for the new year or the new school year. And we tend to get a lot of new students wanting to start lessons in the new year. And just because of the way things are set up here, I have to make a completely new schedule for all of our students and all of our teachers each fall. It's very complex, and I just have to put on my big girl pants and make it happen. It takes hours and hours of work. I won't get into all the details of why it's so complicated, but we have around 100 students that I have to find lesson times for. And this year I ended up hiring 3 new teachers. So that also brings with it some challenges, although I will tell you, I'm really excited about my new teachers, and I think they're going to be great additions to the program. And then in addition to all of that, one of my colleagues moved on to a different job. And so I've taken on some additional responsibilities to help fill that gap. So I'm accompanying more this year, which if you've been here for a while, you know that I love that part of my job. Accompanying is what I'm trained in and what I love to do, but it does give me less time to do the administrative work that needs to get done. And then, of course, my son went back to school as well. So we're getting back into the rhythm of homework and baseball and all the things that keep him busy as well. I feel like I need to take a breath after telling you all the things that are keeping me very busy right now. In case you are in a similar season, I'm going to share a few things that are helping keep me sane. These 5 things are really random. There's no category other than that they're helping keep me going. So here we go. I'll go backwards from number 5. Number 5 is using ChatGPT to get me unstuck and move things along that don't need to take forever and keep me stuck. I've talked about this before a little bit. I don't use ChatGPT to write my podcast or anything like that, but it is a lifesaver when I am either stuck on a task or have an annoying task that is going to take way more time than it should. One of my favorite things to do is if I know what I want to say, maybe in an email to a parent or a group of people, I'll just stream of conscious, put it into ChatGPT without any thought of making it sound good. And then ChatGPT will take that and in about 2 seconds, clean it up and make it sound professional. And then I can go back through and make it sound more like me and edit it accordingly. So rather than sitting at my desk for 10 minutes, staring at the blank screen, trying to figure out the right way to say something and make it sound good, I just word vomit it into ChatGPT and then let it take it from there. Now, of course, there are times where I feel it's beneficial for me to sit in the struggle of making something sound good and crafting the words exactly the way I want them. But for those times when it just doesn't really matter and I need to get something on the page, ChatGPT is saving my sanity in those times. If there's a task that you've been procrastinating because it just feels too hard to get started, that's where ChatGPT is a way to get that little kick in the pants you need to get going. I'm using a lot of pants metaphors today for some reason. I don't know why. I'll share one other way that I'm using ChatGPT that I actually learned from my niece, who's a grown woman now, and that is to help with technological difficulties. Have you ever been doing something online or maybe an iMovie or some other software and you just can't figure out how to do the thing you want to do? Rather than searching the help articles, which can be helpful, or Googling, or just clicking around forever trying to figure it out, I've discovered that ChatGPT is great at solving these problems. Well, my niece told me that it was, and she was right. So I went back and looked at my ChatGPT history to get an example of when I did this. And there was one where I wanted to create a Google form where my teachers would give me their availability. And I wasn't even sure if this was possible in Google Forms. So here's the prompt that I used in ChatGPT. I'm creating a Google form for my teaching staff to find out their availability for teaching lessons. Is there a way to create some kind of a schedule grid where they would mark all the times they are available, like Monday through Friday, 9 through 6, with times that they could mark or choose? Now, I'll just give you a real quick backstory. The reason I did this is because in the past, I just asked them their availability and they might say Monday morning or Monday. And then I would make the schedule and then they'd say, oh, actually, I need to leave by 12 o'clock on Monday. And I had scheduled them till 12:30 or something like that. So I wanted to have specific times that they would choose to let me know their availability. And guess what? Good old ChatGPT, or Chatty, as I like to call him, told me exactly how to do it. It would have taken me so long and so much frustration to figure it out on my own. And honestly, I didn't even know if it was possible to make a grid like that in Google Forms. Turns out it is possible, and it was done in just a few minutes with the help of Chatty. So thank you, ChatGPT. I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you this or not, but next month, we're doing a theme about AI and technology. So if you hang out around top music, which obviously you do if you're listening to this podcast, you will be hearing more about using AI and probably ChatGPT next month, as well as other technology. All right, number 4 on my list of things that are saving my sanity. I know I said there's no theme to my 5 things, but actually these first 3 are somewhat related to technology. So number 4 is sending voice memos instead of text messages. Now, hear me out. First of all, I have to tell you that I hate calling people on the phone. I far prefer texting, and it seems like that is true of most of the general population. So I'm a big fan of texting. And voice to text is good. But have you ever had this thought where you're about to text someone and you think, this text is going to be 5 paragraphs long because I have to explain all these things and the backstory and all of this. And it just feels a little too overwhelming to start typing all of those things. That's where the voice memo comes in handy. Just say what you want to say and send it as a voice memo. Easy peasy. And then they can respond either by texting, or if they're comfortable, they can send a voice memo back, or however they want. Maybe you're already doing this, but I tend to forget that this is even an option. I do this on Instagram too sometimes. Instead of DMing, I'll send a voice memo in the DMs. It's more personal and it's so much quicker, and you can just say what you need to say. You guys should test me out. Send me a DM on Instagram and see if I respond with a voice memo or with a text. But you have to ask me a question where it's going to be something long where I need to send a voice memo. So test me out. All right, number 3 on my list is to systematize whatever I can. And I'm sure you've heard that systems are great and all of those things before. So I used to be so bad at systems, and it's definitely still a work in progress, but I'm getting better. I'll give you a couple of examples where I'm doing this. I told you that I just hired 3 new teachers. And in the past, whenever I've hired teachers, I have them come in early on their first day. And I would just tell them all the things they needed to know about the time clock and their schedules and communicating with parents, all these different things. And of course, I didn't have any of it written down. I would just verbally try and remember everything, or verbally tell them and try and remember. And as it came to mind, inevitably, I'd forget something and have to tell them later when it came up again. So this time I thought, I've got to streamline this. And there was a part of me that was thinking, I don't have time to streamline and systematize this. I have to finish the lesson schedule. I have 1,000 other things to do. This is going to take way too much time. But I also knew that ultimately this was going to save me time in the long run. So I sat down one day, I put my phone on work mode so I wouldn't be distracted, and I scripted 4 training videos for my new teachers. I made some quick slides in Canva using one of their presentation templates, and then I recorded the videos in Canva, which thankfully I had done this whole process before when I created my digital course on accompanying. So I didn't have to figure out how to do it from scratch. Thankfully, I was able to knock it out pretty quickly because I knew the process. And now I have the training videos, and I cannot tell you how good it feels to have my new teachers watch the videos while I can use that time to do something else, and then come back to me and ask any questions that they might have, rather than me sitting down with each of them, trying to remember everything I'm supposed to tell them each time. So training videos might not be the thing you need to systematize, but if you think of things like that, where you are reinventing the wheel every time, and think about how you can do it one time and have it done forever. Another quick example of this is there are certain forms that I have to occasionally fill out for work. And for the longest time, every time I had to fill one out, I had to go into this shared work drive on my computer. I had to find the folder, figure out which form it was, print it out, and then fill it out. Now what I've done is I have a folder sitting on my desk, like a physical folder on my desk. And I have one copy of each of the forms. And whenever I need it, I take out that piece of paper, I make a quick photocopy so I can keep the original in the folder on my desk, and then I fill it out. Now, I know some of you are very organized digitally, so you don't need to do this, but some of us need a paper copy at our fingertips that we can just grab. And I can't tell you how many times I've reached into my little folder, pulled out the form, and said, I'm so glad that I did that because it makes it so much easier to just make the photocopy and be done with it. One other system that I'll mention really briefly is fonts.com, which is I use all day, every day for my billing and scheduling lessons. And I actually have the creator of Fonz, Eric Brenner, coming on the show next week. So if you're curious about Fonz and how it can streamline your scheduling and billing, be sure to check back next week for that episode. It's going to be a really good one. I'm excited about it. Okay, my last 2 things that are saving my sanity are a little more personal rather than business, although I still use them. Well, the last one I use as part of the business. The first one, or number 2 in my list if we're going backwards, is having some super easy go-to meals that I always have the ingredients for and require hardly any prep. Recently for me, I don't know if I should admit this, but this has been baked potatoes. It's probably not the most healthy option in the world. I suppose sweet potatoes would be a more healthy option. But I love that potatoes have a long shelf life, so I can keep them on hand, and then I just throw them in the microwave when I need something quick that I know is going to fill me up. And it's done. It's easy. I don't have to think about it. It's just the meal is there and ready. I would love to hear if you have any I can't even meals. That's what I call them, when you just can't even muster up the brain cells. I just have to tell you guys, I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like feeding myself and my family 3 times a day, that's a lot. Does anyone else feel that, or is it just me? I love eating. I don't want to cut down on my 3 meals a day, but sometimes the mental capacity that it takes feels like just too much. So number 2 is having some super easy meals that take 0 mental energy to prepare. Okay, we're already at number 1 on my list of things that are saving my sanity this season. And this is actually my favorite and the one that gave me the idea for this episode. It's actually a 2-in-1, so you get a little bonus one here. Sometimes when I'm at work, and I know that many of you work at home, so you don't necessarily go into an office, but you can still apply this because I'm sure if you're working at home, you still get stressed out, right? I'll be in my office scrambling around thinking of 1,000 different things, and then maybe I get a rather strongly worded email from a parent. You probably know the ones I'm talking about. Maybe you have one or two of those parents in your studio, and I just start to feel my stress level rising. So here's what I've been doing for the past few weeks. I have a little essential oil diffuser on my desk, and I hit the on button of my diffuser. And then I go to YouTube and I find one of those quiet, like coffee house jazz piano music channels. And I turn it on real softly. Sometimes I'll turn off the fluorescent lights if it seems a little too bright. And all of a sudden, I feel more grounded. Like I can take a breath. Everything's going to be okay. ChatGPT is going to help me respond to the intense parent email. And I'm not going to lose my sanity, at least not today. I inherited some of these essential oils from a woman who retired from my office, and my current favorite that she left behind is cloves. It makes me feel like it's Christmas time, even though it's September. If you're at home, maybe you can light a candle, put on your favorite fuzzy slippers, or make a cup of your favorite tea. It's amazing how those tiny little things, they just take a few seconds, but they can immediately make you feel like you're going to be okay. And it just lowers your stress level. So those are the 5 things that are saving my sanity during a very crazy, busy season for me. I'm hoping that things are going to settle into a slightly slower routine soon, but we all have these months where it just feels like we might spiral out of control. So I wanted to give you a few ideas for keeping it all together when you hit one of those months. Let me know what you thought of this episode and what is helping you keep your sanity. And if you listen to the podcast regularly and have never left a review, it really does make a difference in helping other people find the podcast and keeping us on the air, so to speak. You can leave a review or a rating on whatever platform you listen on, and it would mean the world to me. I really appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you will join me again next week for an episode that I think is going to be pretty epic with Eric Branner. I'm Rachel Ehring, and this is the Top Music Piano Podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk with you again soon.
How do you keep up to date with all the latest trends and research into music education? How do you connect with other teachers around the world and make sure your teaching stays fresh and relevant for students of all ages and stages, both now and into the future? I created our Top Music Pro membership to be the one-stop shop for music teaching resources, training, support, and community, and I'd love for you to come and join us inside. With over 40 comprehensive training courses, hundreds of teaching demonstrations and lesson plans, free monthly sheet music, discounts, and all the business and pedagogy support you could ever need, Top Music Pro is the community you've been looking for. If you're ready to level up your learning from the podcast and join thousands of other teachers in our global network, head over to topmusicpro.com today.